This week I'm going to talk about how I cold emailed one of the producers of my all-time favorite movie, American Psycho, and how they actually responded and agreed to read my script, and then 30 pages in they quit, said it wasn't for them. And as demoralizing as that was, what happened after I think was more valuable maybe than even getting a yes from them. Also, sorry, my first video was out of focus, and by the time I realized I was out of focus for most of it, I was like, I'm not re-recording this. No one's gonna watch it anyways, so who cares? But if you did watch it, sorry, I'm gonna do better. We'll be better, okay? If there's one film that made me want to be a filmmaker, it's American Psycho. And I think American Psycho is one of the most misunderstood film of the past 20 years or so. And I think the reason for it is that the satire is so clever that a lot of people miss it. Like these frat guys and finance bros who put American Psycho in the same sentence as Wolf of Wall Street, when it's like those movies could not be more different. And I don't know about you, but I've seen it many times on my TikTok feed of like girls talking about their red flag movies, and American Psycho is like always in the list of red flag movies, which is ironic because it's a film directed by a woman. Also, shout out to Mary Herron. I'm gonna like save my adoration for American Psycho for like another video. So at the start of the year, I thought, why don't I try to reach out to the people who made the films that made me want to be a filmmaker? And there's two reasons for this. One, I think cold email is so undervalued. Like, no matter what you're doing, you should be cold emailing your heroes, the people you admire, because there's no downside and there is only upside. And the upside can be huge. The other thing is with Hollywood, I know that like Hollywood is such a place where when you're hot, everyone's calling, and when you're not, nobody's calling. And so these films are 15, 20 years old, and I figured, maybe these producers are retired, just chilling, or maybe it's quiet for them, and they would love to have some young up-and-comer that wants to hear all their war stories from the glory days, which I do. So I find this producer on LinkedIn, send him a message, and to my surprise, like pretty quickly, he responds to me, sends me his email, and says he wants to read the script. So I'm like, sick. So at this point, I think I'm golden, because I'm like, oh, if he just reads it, he's gonna love it, and it's gonna open all these doors between us. That is not what happened. Here it is in all its glory or horror, depending on your point of view, the original email that I got back from the producer of American Psycho. And in summary, I think it's what a lot of people that are trying something new, taking risk, are faced with, is kind of entrenched players saying, no, that will never work, do it this way. It's the same stuff over and over again when you're trying to do something new. I think it hurt because it came from him. Like, I was so certain that if he was a part of American Psycho that he would love this script, because there's a lot of the same like satire and critiques on capitalism, and the themes are just so similar, even though the stories are very different. But then I remembered something that I believe deep down, which is that the worst reaction to art isn't hate, it's indifference. It's okay, it's fine, it's nice. Those are the real death blows. When someone doesn't feel anything, then you're screwed. But with hate, you have something to work with. So when he said he hated it, a part of me kind of lit up, to be honest with you. Maybe I struck a nerve. Maybe I am onto something, and that's why he felt so impassioned to write me this long email, So I have also learned that you should never sort of write anything in the moment, especially when you get a hard email like that. Like, close it, let it sit for a few days until you can emotionally sort of regulate. But I was typing in my notes app, and I did something important. I wrote him back. Not with excuses, not with ego. And here's what I had to say. Here's my first response back. Go ahead and pause it if you want to read the whole thing. I'll talk about it in just a second here. And then here is the response they sent me to my email. And at this point, I feel like, okay, we made a connection here. I'm going to go ahead and, see if they want to link up. And sure enough, they did. And I'm getting ready to take it back to him. And I'm really excited to see what he thinks now. Will he like it now? Will his issues be solved? Will they not? I think regardless, he'll respect the fact that I'm coming back to him, that I care enough to, take my L, get up off the mat, and come back for another, round of judgment, right? I think he'll really appreciate the work I've put in, but what happens next, I guess we're gonna find out together. I didn't get a green light. I didn't get what I sort of expected out of this exercise. But I got something just as valuable. I got a mirror, and it made me better. And rejection hurts, but it's inevitable. And there's a really great line I saw somewhere on, TikTok from one of these, life coaches. I don't know how good or bad they are, right? But they said something that was very interesting, which was like, if you knew that you were 20 no's away from your dream, like how excited would you be to get those 20 no's? And it's so true, and is it 20 no's? Is it 100 no's? Is it 150 no's? Does it really matter? Does it really matter? If it's just that between you and your dream, does it really matter how many there are? Because why not be excited to attack them and get through them as fast as possible? Especially with art. With art, what moves one person to tears misses in another person entirely. Some people don't see the vision right away. And that's okay, because you're the one with the vision, right? And so, of course, they may not see it immediately, right? That's also the value you offer to them, right? Is you're showing them something they couldn't see on their own. That's just the nature of the work. You can't be mad at it. You just got to accept what you cannot change. And honestly, whatever you do in your field, I'm sure it's the same. Innovators are always met with resistance. Doesn't matter what it is, science, the arts, whatever. People saying, oh, that will never work. No one will ever want that. Like you don't understand what you're talking about. That's just how it is in any field. You know what I mean? So you just kind of got to realize that and accept it. So if someone turns you down, don't take that as, oh, the door is closed. It's not closed. It's just an invitation for a longer conversation. So stay humble, stay curious, stay open. Also, don't be afraid to say politely, I disagree. Because sometimes that no that you feared becomes the opening to the connection that you need. So with that, I leave you. Have a wonderful week. We'll see you next time. Onwards and upwards.